G'day. Oh, my collar's up. That's too cruel and groovy. Oh, that's even worse. Anyway, hope you're having a great Saturday. This is an unscheduled tracker update. It was an hour late, and I'm sorry about that. We had a press conference here at the Yacht Club Punta del Este for all the local media and so on, and it was successful. It was a lot of fun. Took a little bit longer than we thought. Just introducing the entrants who have already arrived and talking about those that are still at sea, talking about the history of why the Ocean Globe Race exists and so on, and the connection to the Whitbread and the boats and all sorts of things. It was actually really great. And I got to say, once again, everyone here in Punta del Este is extremely hospitable and warm and genuine, and no more so than at the Yacht Club. It's a fantastic club. They just do it so well. And we were fortunate to have the long-standing Commodore turn up. He's had some health challenges, and he called in for the whole conference. He was basically with us for an hour, which is quite amazing. So I promptly, at the end of it, dished him up a big challenge, to make sure that there's a Yacht Club Punta del Este entry in the 2027 Ocean Globe Race. And half the people in the room laughed and thought, well, that's a good idea, which is cool. So wouldn't that be good? They've got a really exciting junior sailing program. I think they have something like 72 young kids doing Optimus training and so on from all around the area. The club sponsors the whole thing, and it's a very active program with quite a big fleet of Optimus, and then it goes on to other boats, including Ilkas and so on. And in fact, Stefano, who's on board Explorer at the moment, is our youth crew. We pull our youth crews from the clubs of the host ports that we're calling into. He's their sort of Ilka champion. He's competed in events over in Europe and other parts of the world. Sailing there, and so we recorded a message from him. Went for a couple of minutes just to explain what he's been doing, sailing around Cape Horn and the things you do as an Ilka sailor. So that was exciting. The members loved that. And of course, Yacht Club Punta del Este had their own entry in the Whitbread race. I think it was it 89? I think it was 80. No, 90. Oh, I forget now. 90. Oh, I forget which one. It must have been 90, 94. I think it was. I forget. Anyway, it was quite a big thing. And Avero, who's been in the club for like 40 years, 50 years or something, he was a crew member on that. And now he's very important, plays a very important part in the club, keeps us going. The interesting thing was, of course, we had entrants that have already arrived. The skippers came out and said a few things, and Tan and Bertrand from Neptune came up and gave a really nice talk. But the big thing was that Tan said they're absolutely planning to come back in 27, and they're absolutely planning to be better and faster and so on. They've got quite a following for their campaign on Neptune. They've got a lot of people have arrived here. I think there's probably 20 Neptune T-shirts from supporters on the dock when they arrived in the early hours. So they're coming back in 27, and I think some others are thinking the same thing. So it was a very cool press conference for local media here, which was a lot of fun. So what's happening on the course? Everything's going pretty smooth. You've probably seen the tweets. I think the big one is Galiana, with Vili being trapped down below and working on the words for his latest edition of his song, which they'll no doubt play at the functions we have here. But everything else seems to be running pretty smooth. Bit of a battle on now between Galiana with Secure and the Speeder Keep to see who will arrive first. They're neck and neck, although the Speeder Keep is coming in on a better angle, so should be a little bit faster. So they may overtake or something. They may turn up first. So, and it was quite exciting to see Triana turn up early hours of this morning, about 4 o'clock or something, I think it was. They crossed about 4 o'clock in the morning. They crossed the line. So, and there we've declared them already as the IRC winners of leg 3. It's pretty clear that no one can really better that from the weather forecast we've got, the positions they're in. So we have an IRC winner for leg 3, and they're very excited about that as well. It'll be interesting to see how it all happens when we stack up the 3 legs. Remembering, of course, because there's a bit of an ongoing confusion, which we try to clarify at different times. The winner of the OGR will be the IRC winner for all, overall, for all 4 legs combined. IRC is the handicap process, which we've talked about often, and it means that the smallest boat in the fleet, which just happens to be Triana and not Outlaw. Oh, jeepers, I've gone blank on it now. Too many things for the press conference. Sterna and Triana are both Swan 53s, and they're the smallest boats in the race now. So a small boat can race against a maxi boat or a big boat like Penduic, because normally a big boat is obviously faster, could always keep winning. But we level the playing field. Just to be clear, the winner of the OGR will actually be the IRC winner. That's the handicap winner. So that's all pretty cool. So let's have a look at the tracker now and see what is happening out there. We put Explorer on a weather alert in the early hours of this morning because this particular blow, we knew there was some big winds coming, but it was, what's happening there? Sorry. Here we go. You should still, I'm going to check that. You should still be, yes, you're still on the tracker, and I'm on the tracker too. So this was Explorer. They'd been tacking inshore, come out, they would be calm, and the system that's coming over them was forecast yesterday to be sort of 30s, gusting into the, into the maybe up to 40. But now it's into the peaks we saw forecast was 36 knots, which generates a weather alert anyway, but gusting into the 50s. So this is quite a solid little number. But the good news is that it's moving over pretty fast, and they're actually in it now. So they only got, we saw it very early this morning, sent them, they only got like 8 hours notice or something before it hit. And at the time they're doing 2 knots or something. And we said, watch out for 50 knots coming, more or less. And it's over them now. So they seem to be doing okay. This was an hour or so ago. We're an hour after the positions. So doing 6.6 knots and 105 nautical mile a day. You can see they were pretty much becalmed just here waiting for this system to come over. Now they've got it, they're going to get a big kick, and it will move quite fast through. Sterna doing okay, doing 9.6 knots in perfect sailing conditions by the look of it. So happy with that. But only 140 mile a day because they too were sitting there for a while. And I think I'll just push this through while we're here, just for the weather. We'll see how it progresses. You can see very quickly. In fact, that heavy weather is only with them there's 1 hour later. You can see it's gone within an hour, and then it's backing off, and at least they've got favourable winds now. Sterna may, on the other hand, may slow down because she's likely to come up into here and park. And at the moment, let's see how far away they are. So Explorer is only about, in the course, only about 200 miles behind. So if Sterna parks for a while, they might be able to catch up a little bit. Then they could have a race to the finish. Wouldn't that be interesting? Anyway, that's their lot there. And so just clicking through, get back to the weather. We might have, no, it's still there. Okay, so that's a few hours time. The Sterna's parked, it's sitting pretty much over the top of them. So they could be without wind for about 12 hours by the look. And Explorer doesn't do much better. They're going to have very light wind. So the following sou'wester is not going to hold for very long. Not very long at all. All of this has happened within 2 days. So there you go. There's 2 days later. And Sterna has now got solid headwinds. They'll be tacking up here somewhere, and Explorer's got the same strong headwind or solid headwinds that they'll be tacking in as well, all generated by this high pressure forming right there. If we come back to the big picture, look at that, you can see it here. It's that's the way they form, and they move out here and get bigger or join up with that one, and it becomes the South Atlantic high with the trade winds. Okay, the trade winds are trying to form. We give a figure S here going up. That'll become a big feature going up north. You want solid trades, but they still haven't turned up yet. So they got 3 weeks before the restart, or 2.5 weeks before the restart. So that's the story for Sterna and Explorer. Translated 9. Marco, to continue the story that I said yesterday while we're talking this, we're trying to get 2 people onto the military civilian flight from Hans Base in the UK down to the Falklands. They missed the flight. Sir Jay Blythe, our patron, tried to help. Didn't happen. Anyway, everyone tried, so never mind. And then unexpectedly yesterday, they took a call, and the duty officer rang up and say, look, sorry about the mix-up before. We've got some options there to give them another flight leaving yesterday. And it was like completely out of the blue. They rushed up there, jumped the plane with the rest of the military team and cargo and so on. And they're on the plane. They had to stop at Ascension Island yesterday, and they're on their way now. And I think they may have already landed even in the Falklands, which is good timing because it's the 17th. At least they'll get a couple of days. They'll get 2 days to check on the external repairs, and then they put the boat back in the water, and they've probably got another couple of days they can work on the internal repairs whilst the boat is reloading, putting the rig back in, things like that. And so there's two builders from Jeremy Rogers Builders in the UK, and they build now. How to get this right? It's not the Sadler. It's the is it the Contessa 32 or the Sadler? Very classic 32 footer, and I've completely forgotten which one's the Jeremy Rogers one, but it's quite a famous boat. They've been building the boat for like 30 years or so, and it's still the same and very expensive for what it is, but they're built really well. So they're classic boats. They're classic. You got to pay money for hand-built boats basically, rather than production pop-outs. So anyway, but I digress. So that's what's happening with Translated. Still on track, if all goes well, to be at the start on March the 5th. So let's just build this up now. We can see what's going on here and work our way up through the fleet. So Evrika, back to real-time weather right now, doing 6.9 knots. That seems pretty good by the look of this graphic, because there's not a lot of strength in the wind, but it's also from the wrong direction. But they've only done 119 mile day, so not going too fast. White Shadow 6.2 and a 94 mile day, sailing without a forestay and a damaged mainsail. So not a lot happening there. They're losing ground to the middle fleet here, and even that looks like it's getting very interesting. So Outlaw 6.4 knots, 146 mile day, and this is a bit of a disaster here. For Galliana, 3.7 knots and 130 mile day. You can be certain she's not sailing in this wind, because that's going right into the headwind. So there's something going on there. And she was going boat for boat against L'Esprit de Keep. I'd say they've got a forecast from somewhere. They've made a decision to go over to the east as quick as they can, rather than get too close to the coast. So anyway, only 130 mile day, L'Esprit de Keep, 138 mile day. So again, it's not so exciting. But this is how close they are to Punta del Este here and the finish line. So we'll now, before I get into exactly what's going to be the ETAs for the finish, let's just have a look at the potential weather. I'm going to go back 2 days ahead, and then we can do it. So you can see you've got this northeasterly airflow generated by this massive high out to the east. This is what's generating all the weather. There's a squeeze back here, strengthening up, but this is bouncing around the coast. So generally a headwind airflow. If we hit that and we just bounce this across now, see what the big picture says. Still all the same, basically headwinds or light headwinds. So I'll come back down now, so you can see. I hope this is not too confusing. You see there's very light winds. So this is the 18th. So this is tomorrow. Very light winds indeed, and I'm hoping it slows down the L'Esprit de Keep and Galliana just a little bit, so we get to go at daylight tomorrow. Anyway, a White Shadow and Evrika, they're going to have problems because there's just light headwinds. At least it's reaching, not necessarily on the nose. But yeah, generally very light and fluffy for the next few days. There's the next 2 days, and that's going to affect White Shadow and Evrika quite substantially. Not much happening. Jeepers, there's 3 days. Very light stuff. Could be good beach weather here in Punta del Este. But boy, that's going on for ages. Look at that. Jeepers, there's the 20th. So it's 3 days, and then it's only back to headwinds again. So you've either got no wind or headwinds. Take your choice. Okay, so you can see nothing exciting is happening there. So it's not going to be a quick transit for White Shadow and Evrika. And then if we come back now to the leaders in the Galliana pack that I often refer to them as, we'll see what it looks like for ETAs. And come right over here. Okay, so distance to the finish for L'Esprit de Keep is only 104 miles. Okay, not far at all. So I'll work it out in a minute, but that potentially says sometime very early tomorrow. And they're currently sailing at 6.2 knots. Galiana with Secure, this is the hiccup. They're hardly making any progress towards the finish, only doing 3.7, and their distance to the finish is 114. So I got 114 versus 104. L'Esprit de Keep could be coming in first now, but it's amazing. 6 hours ago, it looked like Galiana was there. They've lost all the breeze. But it's scheduled to pick up because I looked at it on Windy about 6 hours ago, and that seems to be the case. But now we'll see what this graphic is saying if we start pushing this forward. So yeah, you can see the north. Oh, jeepers, doesn't last long. Mind you, it doesn't have to last long because they'll be there pretty quick. So the wind is picking up. At the moment, they've had about 9 knots, and it's picking up to about 15 through here. So they'll actually have the breeze, but it's likely to drop off after midnight. So there's midnight now. That's midnight local time, and you can see then it drops off, but drops off to only about 8, 9 knots again, 8, 9, 10 knots. And by then, when that happens, midnight tonight, they'll be L'Esprit de Keep could be within about 30 miles of the finish, and then it goes light. So it could take that last 30 miles could take 6 hours or something. So they might be in by sort of 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Hopefully not in the dark, but we'll have to wait and see. It'll all depend on the forecast what happens, and I can't tell you, but we'll just say for now the ETA is around about sort of between 5 and 7 o'clock in the morning. So that means that 5 o'clock is 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 0800 hours on Sunday, UTC for L'Esprit de Keep. Maybe somewhere from there onwards. That's probably what's going to happen. But we'll update on Facebook probably tonight about 9 o'clock. Will be the last one I do before we try and get some shut eye, and then we should have a good indication of what's happening. So let's go to the leaderboard, and you can see there's quite a bit of green there because they've finished. So Penduick, this is the corrected elapsed time for IRC, but we're on line honours positions. So these are the line honours positions that includes any penalties that were incurred for a real-time finishing. So you can see they're stacking up there. Spirit of Helsinki, Neptune, Triana, and so it goes. Next one's in will be L'Esprit de Keep and Galiana. That's how it's working. Just got Jane give me a message here, but hopefully the sound is okay.
Yes, okay. Just a funny message.
A funny message. Okay, Jane's just handing over. I'll read it when I'm on the screen in case it makes me laugh. So let's go to the IRC now. I'll go to IRC. And we've got Triana on 36 days, 7 hours. And you can see that's pretty impressive. This is the corrected time here. So that's not too bad. And Galiana with Secure is currently on 37 days, 22 hours. They're not going to take out a day and a half, and they're going slow at the moment. So there's every expectation that, 37 hours, 20, jeepers, is going to go close. Galiana has to get a move on. If they don't, if they sort of stall there and go nowhere, they've got to lose. That's one. They've only got 9, 10 hours. They've got basically about 10 hours up their sleeve. And if they 10 hours, they're cool because they're only going to be about 15 hours or more to get here. So they're pretty secure. I think you'll see them hold their second place in IRC for this leg, which is pretty impressive. And Maiden, even more impressive. They'll have that by 1 hour. Or an hour. So Maiden are now half an hour over Penduick. And part of that was, or in fact, a chunk of that was the penalties that the Penduick decided to take to repair sails. That's where that came from. And then jeepers, 5 minutes to Neptune. They're 5 minutes for Neptune. And I can't remember whether Neptune had a sail repair or not.
Yes.
They did. Yeah, Jane just confirmed. So that hasn't been added yet. So you're likely to see that Neptune will slip a little bit further back once we put the sail repair penalty there. Spirit of Helsinki are clear. So they're 38.9, and then we got 39.12. I think it was only one sale, maybe two for Neptune.
36 hours.
At 36 hours. Okay, so Neptune are going to have 36 hours. That'll pull them behind Spirit of Helsinki. So Spirit of Helsinki will go to 5. Neptune will be down to 6. Interesting to see how the sales situation plays out with this. And people will be watching and learning from this, the future entrants for 2027, because that rule will stay the same. Sales need to be considered as part of the tactics rather than part of the wallet. We don't want people winning by money. They can just go ahead and buy sales and blow them up and all that sort of thing. This is part of the smart tactics for trying to win the OGR. So anyway, then it's down to White Shadow, Eureka, Speed to Keep, and so on. So that's kind of fun. Okay, so let's have a look, and I can read you this secret message in a minute before I look at
No, don't read it.
I'm not allowed to read it.
I mean, don't read it out.
Oh, I can just read it. Okay, I'm not allowed to tell you what it is, but I've got to read it. Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So I'm laughing. But unfortunately I can't tell you about it because it's a bit. It's not rude or anything like that. It's just a bit. It's not even technical, but if I bring it up, it'll start a whole strange conversation. So it's maybe I should have seen it after I shut down. But anyway, all kind of cool. At least they told us, so that's fine. All is good. And let's just see here. By the way, we had if you want to see something interesting, you may have seen the lives and everything of the finish. We do with Triana coming in today on the water, crossing the finish line. That was cool. Then we do a bit on the marina, which was cool. But just towards the end, a lot of people will watch the bit of it coming into the wharf and the champagne popping and things like that. That's cool. But I had a really interesting conversation with Jean at the end about his entry. He was one of the last entrants to enter the OGR. And I asked him a few questions about Cape Horn and about why he decided to enter, his corporate background. And here was an interesting conversation. So if you got time to kill on the weekend, just even fast forward a bit and wait until you see me talking to Jean there. It's quite interesting how he decided to do this, because he's a corporate guy. He's out there and in his own business as well as involved with other companies and stuff. And the realization of actually doing this thing was quite interesting. Okay, I digress. So Carl, how's it going? Doing good. Adventure is great. Still following as I am able to in the USA. Good on you, Carl. Rishabh, I zipped too much past that one then. You're happy. Good to see you happy. Nigel, apologies for missing a few days. No problem, Nigel. Good to see you there. Don't miss tomorrow. You'll be in trouble. Hey, John, you'll be posting a recording of the press conference. No, we discussed that, and it was very interesting. And in hindsight, we probably should have, but at the time we decided, it's for local media and all that sort of stuff. And so we didn't actually film it. We filmed a bit of it for the doco. One thing that we will be screening, we have, as you know, we put the satellite video clips up from boats when they come in, just to show you what's going on board. And we haven't done a lot of exposure for the onboard footage that we collect from all the boats when they come back for the leg. But we're starting now to have conversations, Rob and I, about the documentary. And there's a huge amount of wow factor with the footage that we're getting from the entrance and the footage that's being shot and the interviews being done and so on. So we did a little 2-minute, or Rob did a little 2-minute clip for this press conference today, as well as the fact that we have a lot of random background clips that are run without sound at all, just running in the background of all our events. Rob's going to put the natural sound back into those with some music, and there'll be these random ones that start popping up now and during the last leg to back to the finish line in the UK. And also the 2-minute one that we put up will be in a press release. We're putting a press release out late today, which sounds crazy because it means it'll go out sort of tonight our time, which is Sunday morning Europe time, and no media's going to pick it up on Sunday. But as you know, our press releases are sort of also like a news update for subscribers, and we've got over 18,000 subscribers to the newsletter. and that goes out. We could have, and we probably should have, done a dedicated press release for Maiden and Helsinki when they came in, but we'd just done one before, on Penduic that comes in. It takes a lot of work, and we had a couple of comments, what's happening? We didn't see what's going on, but we collectively decided in our wisdom or lack of wisdom not to issue one specifically for Maiden and Helsinki because it was just too much work, and we knew we had 2 more boats coming in, last night and today, and this little press conference of photos. So it's happening now, and it takes like half a day or more of a few people to get it all going. So we rely heavily, as you know, on Facebook to keep people up with it. And you don't have to be on Facebook to actually follow Facebook with us. We've got the social media goes on to the website, and you can get to that on the live section. You'll see, it links through to Day by Day, which has got all of the social media feeds there. So as preaching to the people that aren't there, so if you're missing it, we'll try and it's available on the website without being on Facebook, because many people aren't on Facebook. But also these tracker updates go on YouTube as well, so you can follow it there for bits and pieces and updates. But there's bits of stuff that goes out on the website every day. So anyway, I digress. Kylie, will Explorer get on time for the start of League 4? Yeah, absolutely. Touch wood. If all goes well, they're still not finished yet. They've still got another 1,000 miles to go or something. But the schedule, their ETA is about the 24th. We reckon about the 24th. So that'll give them the 24th or 25th. That'll give them 9 days. And touch wood, I think there's only general servicing and replace the steering wires and get rid of the rope, and they could be underway again. So we'll see how that goes. Warren, all the ducklings are making their way home. Yeah, they are. Kylie, they were very lucky to get on that flight. No, it was a special deal. It's a long story, the way they missed the flight originally, and then the powers to be, and I should say Sir Che Bly, our patron, made some connections on that first night, but it didn't work. But the military guys then got it, and the duty officer and those higher got it as well, and unsolicited they came back and they said, oh, look, we've got a cargo flight going, blah, blah, blah. And there you go. They were able to make things happen. So everything's worked out really well. And Marco Translated is really, really quite grateful for everything that's been happening there, which is good. The flights don't always run weekly. Yeah, I noticed there's some big winds coming. They can't land sometimes. So here they are working with some locals for repairs. Yeah, the crew are working really hard, like Translated crew, but they couldn't do anything without the support of the locals. And there's been pretty solid logistics there. The good news is they're filming it, all of it. They're filming it. It'll be a very nice segment when it's all done. So a lot of good stuff happening there. And we look forward to seeing them on the start line. Thanks for the update. Have a great day. Cool. Thanks, Handrock. Rita, oh, jeepers, I can't understand that one. I can do a translation later. So sorry, I can't do that, Rita. Fantastic race. Yeah, it is, Pat. Look forward to catch up soon. All right, that's us done, and we will see you tomorrow. Hope you have a good weekend. See you later. Boom, boom. I'm going to press that one and tell you how to follow us. See you.